All right. Well, it's so good to see everyone. Thank you so much for your interest in the Carnegie Young Leaders for Civic Preparedness program. We're so glad that you've taken time out of your busy days to join us today. We've got a really exciting and engaging session planned to support you through the process. So I just wanted to first, for those of you who might be new to the program and don't really have much information yet. We just wanted to go through some of the basics before we really dive into the deeper, more engaging breakouts. Next. All right. So what we first want you to do is, as I shared, if you joined a little later, if you joined via the link that I shared from the Civic Ed inbox, your name will be Christine Foley, unfortunately. So you'll have to manually change that in Zoom by clicking on the three dots on your icon and selecting rename. But in the chat, share where you're calling from. We'd love to hear where you're calling from, and also a few words to describe the issue that you're hoping to tackle in your community. So let's just take a minute to share that with each other. Philly, Charlotte, North Carolina, health literacy, supporting female founders, Florida, literacy reading engagement, Chicago, New Orleans. I was just there. Massachusetts, New Jersey, Georgia, digital divide, Massachusetts, California, all the way across the country. We've got people from all over the country. This is so exciting, and it's really nice to meet you all. We're really glad that you could all join. There's such a wide variety of projects and topics that you guys are interested in. Radioactive sites, food community waste. All right. I think we're good to move on. All right. So what we'll be doing today, and feel free to continue putting in the chat. We'd love to hear from you and for the other participants to see who else is in the room. But what we'll be doing today, we'll be going over some of the general program information for those that might be new and missed our first info session where we dive deeper into the program and application. And then we're going to go into breakouts. When you signed up for the info session, you might have remembered that we asked you to indicate the area that you need the most support, whether that be workshopping your project idea, support in building your team, or if you just have like general questions and want to participate in a general Q&A. And then we'll convene back with the larger group for some findings. Audra and I, Dr. Audra Watson, who is the Chief of Youth Civic Programs, will be staying on for a few minutes at the end to answer any questions that might have been left unanswered at the end. So if you have time to join us, we'll be here. All right. Oops. All right. Oh, could we go? Okay, thanks. So yeah, well, so welcome. We work for CNS. We've made a very big, lofty goal where we want to spark 20 million young people across the ages of 14 to 24 to step up as civic problem solvers by 2029. Carnegie Young Leaders is one of our signature programs that we run to support that goal. One thing that we find really important is that you, the young people, you have the power to work across differences, to connect your ideas to actions, and to build solutions together with each other and with your community members to move our country forward. So we're really excited to have you all here. Next slide. Next slide. So I'm just going to go over some general program information. We're looking for the next generation of change makers. We did have a first cohort that started in 2025. So this would be the second cohort. We equip young people with the tools to address real challenges in your communities on issues that you care about through bold civic solutions that you come up with yourself. So there's no adult in a far off room telling you what to do. You come up with the solutions for yourself on the issues that you care about. And together you'll build the skills to collaborate productively, have difficult conversations, and understand each other. Next slide. About the program, topics can be about a lot of different topics. We emphasize projects that help bridge divides, offer opportunities for you to engage in collaborative problem solving, not just collaborating with yourself and team members, but also like across difference to really come up with a solution. We're really targeting places where there are civic deserts, where there might be inadequate access to civic resources and institutions to support your development as civic leaders. Successful projects should aim to engage at least 75 community members in person or 300 individuals through virtual platforms, whether that be virtual meetings, social media engagement, workshops, and more. Priorities will be given to projects that deeply incorporate collaborative problem solving, and also using reliable evidence and bringing people together across difference. Next slide, please. So the key program components, you'll be working in a team of 5. It's really important to collaborate in a team of 5 because it's a lot of work to work on an issue in your community. Different team members hold different roles, and working together will help the work get done. And you get to collaborate with peers from diverse perspectives and skills to help support your work. There will be coaching. There's a coach assigned per each team that supports project implementation. They're really there to help you, guide you through the year. Mentoring, community mentors that you would, if selected, you would identify who could support and is really knowledgeable about the topics in your community. There's a virtual community of practice where we convene every other month, connect with each other, discuss successes and challenges, engage in some professional development opportunities, and really showcase the work that you have all been doing throughout the year up until that point. You create a lasting impact in your community about the issue that you personally care about. And last but not least, you get a stipend. So up to $7,500, $1,000 towards your specific project budget, but team leads and team members also get separate stipends to support the time and effort that you're putting into the work. Next slide. Who can apply? 14 to 24-year-olds in the US, in the 50 states, and Washington, D.C. It does need to be a 5-person team, 1 person being the team lead who will take on more responsibility in the program with coordination and communication, and 4 team members. And we're seeking a diverse representation. So location, life experiences, political ideologies, race, ethnicities, also just experiences. So we are open to everyone who would fit this bill. Next slide. Timeline. Applications are due May 4th. You'll be notified by June 1st You'll have a month to get your paperwork in. There's onboarding paperwork, whether you're over 18, under 18, onboarding paperwork to also make sure that we're able to get you your payments. And then throughout the fellowship year, we kick off. Only the team lead joins, but the team lead will attend an in-person kickoff from July 27th to July 29th in New Jersey. And then you'll take back the learnings to your team. We'll engage in 5 community of practice sessions throughout the year, starting in September. There's a mid-year report that will be due around mid-January. And then the program concludes with a final report that's due on June 2nd. Next slide. Just to go over the application really quickly, we ask for full team lead and team member information, contact information. If you're under 18, you'll need parent approval, so parent information as well. The project proposal, which includes like what the issue is, who's affected, what other organizations might be working on it, what you're proposing to do about it, the impact that you want to make, the timeline that you're thinking of, and like the general program milestones and goals that you want to achieve during the year. There's also a team video and audio submission. Doesn't need to be fancy, doesn't need to look like anything. We included audio because we know that in some cases with technical difficulties, not everyone is able to put together a video. So there's really no one specific format, but every team member does need to speak. And what we're really looking for are your authentic voices, a little bit more information about the project that we might not be able to glean from your application, and also just to really get to know why you want to join CYL. And then a general budget. On the slide, you'll just see like a really generic template or example that I created. It can be as simple as this, but just a general idea to make sure that you've put some thought into like what you'll be using for the project. Next slide. Oh, and I'll hand it off to Audra Watson.
Good evening or good afternoon, depending on where you're coming from today. We are so excited that you're here and that we are able to provide more information about the program. So Christine mentioned briefly a little while ago that we are looking for particular skills, and this program is about deepening particular skills. CNS is focused very deeply on 3 particular skills. The first is collaborating to create solutions, or otherwise called collaborative problem solving. A second is credible information, using credible information, and then also engaging in productive conversations. And as Christine said, it's really important to us that as you go through this journey that we are talking across divides, we are having opportunities to have conversations and to build our projects with, to engage people that may have different perspectives than we do. In the case of this particular program, we are really looking for projects that really focus primarily on collaborative problem solving. And so I want you all to think about, as you create your applications and you write your proposals, how am I working with other people, how other people effectively? So not just collaborating with other people, but how am I creating effective partnerships and processes and identifying and addressing shared goals with people who may not think the way that I do, who may have other perspectives and opinions about things. And so we're really looking to see how your project is going to work on that skill and how you'll develop that skill over the course of the year. So it's something that we will continue to help you to do, but want to see that it is embedded someplace in your application. And I will turn it. So we now have an opportunity, as Christine mentioned before, this opportunity, each of you had has an opportunity to go into a breakout room and focus on a particular thing. And so we have 3 breakout rooms that you all have registered for, or you said that you were particularly interested in going to. One is getting more information, general information about the program. And so that's one breakout room. A second breakout room is having the opportunity to workshop your project. So you may have an idea that you want to really work on a little bit before you submit your final application. That is a second room. And so there will be 2 rooms in which you can do that. And then finally, there will be a room in which you are going to be focused on, why am I blocking it right now? The third room.
Putting your team together.
Putting your team together. Sorry, I completely blocked it. So for some of you, you may have a great idea, but you are only able to find 2 people or a subset. And again, it's really important that your application have 5 team members. Some of you are needing help to identify other team members and want strategies for how to do that. That will be the third breakout room. And so we are now going to let you go into those rooms. We have about a little bit more than 25 minutes in those rooms, and then we will come back together.
And as I open up these breakout rooms, which again are pre-assigned, and you'll automatically go into the one based off of how you registered. But if you have any issues, or if for some reason you're in the wrong one, and that's not the topic that you need support with, please message Max Steinman. He'll be the one who will be here to support any of those issues. And I think he just put something, he just waved. But let me also, oh, you know what? So before we go into the breakout rooms, what we'll need to do, anyone whose name says Christine Foley, that was my mistake when I shared it out. It was a personal link that I used to register myself. If your thing says Christine Foley, please change it to your name so that the breakout rooms can accurately determine which one you belong in. So I'll just give that a minute, and then I'll go and make them. So if you have any issues, you can ask Max to put you in a breakout room. I'm still seeing a lot of Christine Foley's. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, as Christine mentioned, the real Christine Foley, the only way we'll be able to like move you to the right breakout room and distinguish you from the other Christine Foley's is if you've got your real name in there. So please take a moment to update that. And if at any point you are finding yourself in the wrong place, please message me and I'll help you get to the right place.
All right, so I'll just give it a few more seconds, and then I'll work to create them just so that we can push forward. All right, well, welcome back, everyone. We hope that the sessions were helpful, whether you had some general questions, wanted to be able to connect, or at least start thinking about connecting with others to build your team, or if you talked with Kylan, Nikki, or Audra about workshopping your project. We're really glad that you're here. We just wanted to take a minute or two to kind of share some reflections from the breakout, so that those that were in one particular breakout but might have also had questions about the others don't feel like you missed out on too much. I'm happy to go first. I was in the building your team. There were a lot of through lines in the work that people are doing. I wonder if someone could paste in the chat the link to the matchmaking document, just in case anyone who, thanks. In case anyone who still needs a team, but joined another session. And yes, the project does need to be based in the US. We talked about just like, the importance of having a full team to share responsibilities and collaborate and work with each other within your team too. Some methods to finding the other team members, reaching out to friends, even family. Family members are welcome so long as they're within the age group and in the US. Community members, libraries, local youth organizations, local adult organizations that might be in contact with youth. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. But we also try to match make a little bit as well. And there's a lot of through lines. A lot of folks are interested in healthcare, education, and other things. So if you need to complete your team, we do have a document to help get you connected where you can reach out to others in the same boat directly. Sahai?
Yes, we had a lively Q&A. We were able to answer all of the questions that came through initially from registrants who sent in questions in advance. And then we had lots of additional questions about what types of projects you all are looking for or that we're looking for, how to choose, like we've got two people who would be really excellent team leads. How do we decide? How do we pick one? Do we have to? And then just additional logistical questions about the role of the team lead, whether or not projects that are already underway are a fit for this. And of course, for everyone's benefit, the answer is yes, absolutely. Yeah, those are some of the highlights from our Q&A conversation. And I'll pass it to Audra or to Nikki.
Sure, I can start. So had a great conversation. I wasn't sure how many people were going to want to go, but there were quite a few. I think at least 10 people raised their hand to share really well thought out ideas about what they wanted to do, how they're going to collaborate with other individuals, but we're asking for additional thoughts about how to make their current thinking stronger. I think one of the things to think about, and I started to say this in our group, is you're not going to be able to accomplish everything. This wouldn't be a problem, right? If it was easy to solve. And so you want to keep this manageable, keep your milestones really concrete, right? But make them, we're not saying try and take a pass and make it easy. We want you to do something that's sort of a stretch for you, but will make an impact in the communities that you are working on. But was really excited about the really very different type of projects that people were working on. And I'll pass it to Nikki and Kylan.
Yeah, I can kick it off. Similar to you, Audra, we had a really productive session and a lot of great ideas that were shared. I know we had a lot of questions that we also didn't get to. So again, I am just gonna share out my email in the chat. So if you have any project specific questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to take a closer look at them. But yeah, just like really excited and yeah, just to see all these amazing ideas. And I'll pass it to Nikki.
Yeah, same. Yeah, so for context, for those of us who didn't get to join us in the workshopping your project, we just brainstormed a little bit how we're going to incorporate these collaboration, constructive dialogue, credible information, all of these components into a cohesive and focused and impactful application. So I really appreciate everyone who was willing to share out their ideas, as well as those who were willing to practice collaboration by giving feedback to peers, asking questions. And again, I hope we can kind of keep that discussion going as we move forward with these applications. But yeah, thanks so much to my group.
Thank you all so much. We're really grateful, Kylan and Nikki, that you joined us to help facilitate. For those of you that don't know, they're CYL coaches. So they're deeply involved with the work. They work closely with fellows and teams to help implement their project. And they're doing great work and amazing young change makers themselves. Very inspiring. So very thank you so much for joining, and thank you everyone else who joined us today. We're humbled and really grateful that so many people remain interested in the program and gave up their Tuesday night to talk with us. And we're
So I want to start with a few of the questions that were asked in the registration. And give me 1 second. So some of the first questions that came up were, what does civic mean? So when you ask for civic projects, what does that mean? So if your project is based in your community, if it addresses a community need or a social issue that you have firsthand knowledge of, that's what's meant by civic. So it can be mental health, food or housing insecurity, climate or the environment, access to resources. These are just some examples of the type of project that your issue might address as it relates to civic engagement and what's meant by civic. As was mentioned in the overview, we also wanted to make sure that you all are aware that applications are evaluated based on the extent to which they demonstrate the 3 core civic skills that are essential to the Carnegie Young Leaders program and experience: collaborating to create solutions, engaging in productive conversations, and using credible information. The next question that we got from a registrant was, can you explain the budget? So this was covered as well in the overview, but we could certainly revisit. Each team receives $7,500. $2,500 is a stipend for the team lead, $1,000 as a stipend for each of the 4 team members, and then $1,000 toward the implementation of your project for the total $7,500. What level of traction is expected in the application for projects that are already started? It's another question that we got ahead of time. So we're looking for projects at various levels. Your project can still be in the idea stage or can already be underway and making change in your community. Neither type of project is more heavily considered. If your project is already underway, you should describe some of the progress that has been made in your application. So what are some of the outcomes that you're seeing or learnings that your project has already led to? Next question that we got in advance: what are the requirements for the video submission? Can we be creative if, for example, all of the team members are not in the same place? Yes, absolutely. The submission can be either in video format or audio. It really gives us an opportunity to understand and get to know the team a little bit with a little bit more creativity or enthusiasm than what you can communicate in the written application. It can be a Zoom call if you're not all in the same place. You can record and share a Zoom call or an audio call. It's just a way for us to get a little bit more from you all as the team, as the applicants, as we are considering your application and considering the project that you're putting forth. The next question that we got, can you tell us about what can be done with the project budget? Provide some examples of projects that are surprising or complex in their scale, given the project budget. So, as was mentioned, there are various different types of projects and creative ways that fellows are using their project budget for implementation and also for impact. So some examples, one project combines arts and activism, artivism, and uses their funding to produce a magazine. And they're also awarding, using a portion of their project budget to create an award for a youth arts competition that's focused on civic engagement. There are projects that use funding to create a digital platform or a tool for virtual engagement during the project and also for longer term engagement. So that really gets at longer term impact of the project. And also when some of the project teams and the service population are engaged, there's often virtual or in-person workshops that may be part of a project. And so providing food, incentives for participation, that type of thing. And then lastly, one other example, there's a project that is bringing together people in a community with varying perspectives and ideas, which really gets at that collaborative problem solving and decision making value. But that project is using their budget to purchase meals for community dinners, where the conversation and the dialogue is focused on food systems. So those are just some examples of how current fellows are applying their project funding toward implementation. Two other questions that we got in advance. When should I expect to hear back about my submitted application? Also covered, but just to revisit, applications submitted by May 4th will receive an update by June 1st. And then every team that's selected should expect to complete their onboarding forms during the month of June. And then the last question we got is how much time should I expect to devote to my project? So the timeline was shared in the overview. And during the course of the entire fellowship year, there is a kickoff at the beginning, and that is for team leads or a member of the team that's designated if the team lead themselves is unable to attend. And then there are 5 virtual community of practice sessions that happen throughout the fellowship year for the entire team that are led by the coach that is assigned to you to support your team and your project implementation. And then there are reports that are due at the midpoint and at the final point on your progress and outcomes during your fellowship year. And so the amount of time that you dedicate beyond those expectations is really up to your team in terms of, what's necessary for the success of your project and how you all work together.
We've got some great questions here in the chat. I think the first one is that from Ula. I just heard about this program recently, so my challenge is finding teammates. Do you have any advice on that? We are going to recap a little bit about what the Building Your Team breakout room is up to when we all come back in the main room, but we can give you a couple of thoughts as well. So, Heidi, you want to share some thoughts on that?
Sure. So we would encourage you to start with folks close to you. So you think about your classmates, your friends, family, other young people who might have interest in the same project or the same solution that you are working on. There is also a matchmaking document and process that we're using internally to put teams together where there is shared interest or shared ideas, similar ideas around community solutions. And so if that feels like something that you might need or benefit from, Ula, definitely send us a message and we can make sure that you are able to complete the matchmaking document. Awesome. I see another one. My friend and I already
Maybe,
started.
yeah.
Yeah, working on our application and working on our project together. We're having trouble determining who should be team lead. Could we possibly have two team leads and split the stipend? Love the democratic approach and, wanting to preserve your friendship and also, acknowledging that you all both have leadership strengths and a lot to offer. There has to be one team lead, in part because only the team lead participates in the kickoff event that happens at the beginning of the fellowship year. And so for that reason, you'll have to decide which of the two of you will be the team lead. You can certainly be thoughtful and creative about what the leadership and sort of the how you're spreading the work over the course of the project implementation. But for the purposes of the application and who participates in various ways throughout the fellowship year, we need one team lead. Thanks for that question. Is there a certain acceptance rate? Thanks for that question, Doreen. So we are selecting 500 fellows who will participate in the fellowship in 100 teams. And so we're thinking about the diversity of the projects, the diversity of the perspectives and experiences of applicants who will become fellows. And we're also, really importantly, wanting to represent all 50 states across the two fellowship cohorts. So there are 24 states that aren't represented in the current class of Carnegie Young Leaders. And so if you're in one of those states, that also helps your chances of having your application accepted, because we really want the impact of Carnegie Young Leaders to be far-reaching across the entire country. Thanks for that question. Eva asks, how do you differentiate the team lead from other members? What specific responsibilities will they have to take on? That's a great question. So one of them, probably the most significant, is that the team lead attends the kickoff, the in-person kickoff at the start of the fellowship year. And then the team lead is the primary point of contact during the fellowship, and sort of takes responsibility for galvanizing the entire team during your project implementation. Sophia asks if I already have a community service project that my team and I have been working on for the past year or so. We want to know if we should still apply for Carnegie. If so, what are some of the benefits, and clarify details as to what this would bring to pre-established projects. We absolutely encourage you to bring your pre-established, pre-existing project to Carnegie Young Leaders. This is an opportunity to take your project to the next level, to get some support and insight from your coaches, from the community of practice, from your peers, around how to sort of level up your project and the impact that it has. And so we certainly encourage you to bring your existing project to the application process. As I mentioned earlier, in the application, we would encourage you to shed some light on what is already working well with your project, what you've learned, what maybe isn't going the way you planned, and how the Carnegie Young Leaders experience can help you address some of those things, some of those elements of your project through this experience. Could you also please talk a little bit more about the kickoff event? Max, do you mind sharing a little bit more about the kickoff? We know that it happens in person in New Jersey and is an exciting opportunity for all of the team leads across the fellowship to sort of get grounded in the expectations of the experience, to meet each other, and to sort of benefit from the energy and excitement that kicking off this experience means. There is some, initial support and, coaching and directing that happens. But if Max, is there more you can share about what happens during the kickoff?
Unfortunately, I was not there last year, but
Mhm.
I do think, yeah, it's an opportunity to meet all the other team leads. You'll be meeting with some of the coaches as well. I think that the goal of the kickoff is also to really help begin to shift the way you think about your project so that, when you're off over the course of the year working on your own, you have kind of a framework for how to think about impact. Um, and as Sahai mentioned, you're going to be able to form a lot of relationships with other teams, which, may in and of itself be a way to grow the impact of your project. If one of the team members is in a similar state, similar region, or doing something, similar that then you can be connecting on over the course of the year. The other thing I will say is that there are communities of practice, a number of different communities of practice that all of the fellows are in over the course of the year. And so the kickoff is an opportunity to begin to introduce those, figure out which of them you're most interested in being a part of. And then there's a platform that allows you to share updates, connect with other fellows over the course of the year in those communities of practice. So it all happens at the kickoff, and it's a really energizing, exciting few days in Princeton. Um, I think Christine mentioned this, but the travel and accommodations, those are covered by the program, and so CNS will be guiding you through all those logistics and making sure that's a smooth process for you all.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And someone asked, when is the kickoff? It's July 27th through 29th of this year in New Jersey. Next question. If we get chosen, is the $1,000 for each team member part of the funding, or is it our own to spend? So the $1,000 stipend that you receive as a team member is for your time, and to compensate you for the time that you invest in the project and in the fellowship. And then there is also an additional $1,000 toward that goes toward your project implementation. Will there be any awards or recognition for projects? I'm curious if you can share a little bit more about what you mean. We know that during the course of the fellowship year, you're engaged in the communities of practice that we mentioned, and that gives you a chance to interact and sort of workshop your project and make progress toward your project goals. But I'm wondering if for example, a formal type of certificate given. I don't know if there's like a paper certificate given, but certainly you will be part of the Carnegie Young Leaders Network, the digital network, so across, LinkedIn and the various platforms that CNS uses to engage. But that's a great question. Maybe like, business cards or, something like that, as a way to distinguish yourself beyond the fellowship experience. Um, you should propose that for sure.
Mhm. And maybe I missed it. Did we get to Gabriel's question about the age for team members?
No, not yet. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
next question. Yep. So do the team members have to be teens? You have to be between the ages of 14 and 24 to be a Carnegie Young Leader. So those are the requirements. Even if you turn 25 during the fellowship at the time of your application, you're required to be 14 to 24. Just to confirm, for our project, we get a total of 7,500 as well as an addition. So the $1,000 toward your project funding is part of the 7,500. So it's 2,500 for the team lead, $1,000 each for the 4 team members, and then $1,000 toward your project. Is there anything that happens after the fellowship year, and how many projects continue beyond the fellowship year? The goal is that all of the projects continue beyond the fellowship year. That is something that you have the opportunity to demonstrate in your application. What is the long-term impact that you hope your project will have? And then beyond the formal fellowship year, you stay connected to your coach, to your peers, your fellowship your fellow fellows in the network, and support each other with your um, continued projects and other goals beyond the projects that you're supporting. Um, and yeah, you continue to lean into the Carnegie Young Leaders network, which is large and growing.
We could maybe cover one more question. We're technically a minute over, so I'm gonna have to close the breakout room shortly.
It looks like there's just one
Yeah.
more. I'm not sure if I missed, but does there have to be a five? Yes, 5 members in the team, 1 team lead and 4 additional team members.
All right. Well, as we mentioned earlier, we are going to stay on for 10 or 15 minutes after the hour in case people still do have lingering questions, or if you want to learn more about what happened in the other breakout rooms, what happened in the matchmaking room. But we are going to go back into the main room. Thank you, everyone, for the wonderful questions. We'll also be distributing the recording as well as any updated FAQs if there were new questions that came up. So I'm going to stop the recording.